Shalom, shalom. This is your brother Shataya here at Chicago Branch, Great Millstone, prophesizing the return of the Heavenly Father Yahweh and the Son Yahweh Shai. You all ignorantly call him Jesus, but his true and Hebrew name is Yahweh Shai. Coming at you with another lesson. Lord will, it is edifying through the Spirit. But as always, before we get started, we're going to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Reka'ah Kadash. Double honors to our apostles and our elders here at Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Honors to the hopeful elect. The so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans are the biblical and true Hebrews of the Bible. Salutation to all the Akim out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity, the speckled bird, and all those whose lineage goes back to our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, healthy Barakatha, and to the Akwath, and those of you out there listening and learning, Shalom and Barakatah to you also. The title of this lesson is The Beast is Starting to Hate the Whore. The Beast is starting to hate the whore. I could just say all nations are starting to hate the whore, okay? If you think back a while, Europe, which is NATO, their allies, okay? That's the beast. NATO is the beast, okay? For those of you out there listening and learning, NATO, that's the beast, okay? And they were getting their oil, okay, through the Nord Stream pipeline going down from Russia coming down. And we don't know, we know because 2 Corinthians 2:11, we're not ignorant of your devices, lest Satan get an advantage over us, but that Nord Stream pipeline was blowed up. Couldn't prove who did it, but everyone has a pretty strong idea who did it, who was behind it, okay? And now it's costing Europe, okay, double the money to get oil into their countries, okay, to light up their homes, to run their cars, okay, to basically they have to spend double to get the oil now that was coming through the pipeline that was blown up, okay? And that's just one example right there, okay? And we just had this thing with Nero Trump hijacked 2 Russian oil tankers, hijacked a couple of Moab oil tankers also, and they're over there with the agent provocateurs, all right, had the CIA over there in Iran, and they were trying to destroy the country from within, you know, all those who want to be with this democracy thing, uproars and riots, okay, orchestrated through the CIA, and they had to turn the Starlink, shut down the internet to take control of the country, get the country back. And those who were in compliance with these CIA agents, these agents, you know, provocateur, all right, they had them, and they're about to put them to death publicly, okay, public execution, to show the rest of the country what happens when you go against them, all right? But the beast is starting to hate the whore, all right? And let's go here real quick, all right? Let's get Jeremiah, and let's get Jeremiah 50 and 40, okay? And it says, Jeremiah 50 and 40, all right? And it says, we'll start at 41, Israel. Behold, a people, this is Jeremiah 50 and 41. Behold, a people shall come forth, come from the north, and a great nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. It says, they shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel and will not show mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, everyone put in array like a man to the battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon. Okay, so this is pretty much the Medo-Persian Empire coming up against the ancient Babylonians. All right, and we know America, okay, is spiritual Babylon. All right. So we know these countries, and that's going into the Medo-Persian Empire. Now we know, like I said, they just hijacked a couple of tankers, which were Russian. Russia is basically the ancient Medes, okay? All right, Israel, for those of you listening and learning, we're talking about the Medo-Persian Empire, the Medes, modern day Russia, okay? The ancient Medes, okay? And the Persian Empire, okay, that's modern day Iran. All right, and they're pretty much over there messing with both of these countries, all right? Been messing with them, and that's what they're finna shoot these arrows off on the virgin daughter of Babylon, okay? Babylon, aka America, because this place is spiritual Babylon, all right? It says, behold, a people shall come from the north, and great nations, and a great nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the coast of the east. And you know, the old Medo-Persian Empire, it consisted of many nations, okay, who were all under the Persian rule. All right, like I said, they shall hold the bow and the lance. Now, a bow is the silo, okay, that so-called lance are those arrows, which are ICBM missiles come out of. Like when you shoot a bow and you shoot it, the arrow comes out. Well, that bow, that's going into a silo, which is what the ICBM missiles come out of, okay, Israel? And they're going to shoot these missiles off at Babylon, aka America, which is spiritual Babylon, okay? These nations are starting to hate the whore, all right? The beast is starting to hate the whore. And they shall be, and they are cruel and will not show mercy. See, he who is given no mercy shall get no mercy, all right? America ain't showing nobody no mercy or nothing, so they ain't finna get no mercy when this judgment hit them, okay? All right? Their voices shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, everyone put in array, like a man to the battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon, okay? And these nations are gonna be in perfect alliance. They're gonna be strategically in positions, and they're just gonna come up against Babylon, okay, aka America, which is this place is again spiritual Babylon, okay. So we're looking at these other nations who America has been messing with, all right, and they're getting sick and tired of the whore, okay. They're getting ready to shoot these nukes off, shoot these ICBM missiles off over here, and they finna reach out and touch this place, okay? All right. And I have a video here and it's talking about how NATO is criticizing Nero Trump, okay, about his so-called takeover of Greenland and putting tariffs on them because they are trying to oppose what he's doing. You have the Canadian President Trudeau, okay, looking at DJ Trump out the corner of his eye. He made an accusation like he wanted to come at Canada. And this is NATO. The beast is NATO, and the beast is starting to hate the whore. I'm going to play this video and bring out a couple of precepts and close the lesson down. It's pretty much like an intro. I'm going to revisit this lesson, the beast shall hate the whore, and we're going to dot all the I's, cross all the T's, and we're going to go in depth and detail on it a bit more. But without further ado, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for the purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. So without further ado, let's let this video play and get a couple of precepts and close the lesson.
We're concerned about this escalation.
Prime Minister Mark Carney, one of the latest world leaders to comment on escalating talks by the U.S. in their effort to acquire Greenland.
We always will support sovereignty and territorial integrity of countries wherever their geographic location is.
8 European countries, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, and Britain, have been targeted by U.S. President Donald Trump for a 10% tariff for opposing America's desire to take over Greenland. The nations putting out a joint statement saying that they stand in full solidarity with the Kingdom of Denmark, and tariff threats undermine transatlantic relations and risk a dangerous downward spiral.
In any case, we need to approach this with a certain degree of force. It's clear that with Donald Trump, it's no longer about the law, it's about force.
The additional 10% levies would be imposed on the 8 countries from February 1st and could rise to 25% on June 1st if no deal is reached. EU ambassadors held an emergency meeting in Brussels on Sunday to discuss Trump's latest tariff threats. Earlier on Sunday, while meeting with his Norwegian counterpart in Oslo, the Danish foreign minister said Denmark will continue to engage diplomatically with America.
We have been asking since the very beginning of this to have a constructive dialogue with our American ally and friends, free from social media and headlines and strong words. And we opened that dialogue last week. We will not give up on that.
One political analyst says Trump's threat to hit European allies with new tariffs has intensified the dispute over Greenland, which is a semi-autonomous territory of NATO ally Denmark.
This has really become high-level politics. This is not longer just a matter between Denmark, Greenland, and the United States. This has become a matter between Europe and the United States.
Republican lawmakers, though, believe Trump's renewed push for Greenland is justified.
But Greenland has strategic importance to us because of its geography, its placement, but not just to the U.S., but to all freedom-loving people everywhere.
I have concerns about using what I think is a questionable constitutional authority, imposing unilateral tariffs on NATO allies. But the what here, I think, is absolutely in the interest of the United States of America.
Several protests taking place over the weekend in Greenland, with citizens not taking Trump's pursuit lightly, condemning the U.S. president's plans.
It's a bit like a spoiled child turned old. And you think he can, and you think he can scare people. He can't scare Greenlanders.
I hope that the American people as well get their eyes opened to see this is not a good way to treat anybody.
Amid this dispute, several European countries have sent troops to Greenland in recent days, but they have said they are there for Arctic security training. Afia Ba, City News.
With delicious rewards,
There you have it, Israel. So the beast is starting to hate the whore, okay? And you just seen him talk about proposing a 10% tariff on NATO allies, okay? And that could raise up to 25% if they continue to go against him not wanting to take over one of the NATO allies, which is Greenland, okay? You heard the man say he can't scare Greenlanders. And you heard another lady, another prime minister of one of the countries say, we have to pursue this with force. That's the only thing that Nero Trump understands. That's the only thing that he recognizes, okay? So these countries, okay, that have been with him are now going against him, okay? Let's get a couple of precepts real quick, all right? And like I said, we'll shut the lesson down, and we're going to revisit this. We'll make this an intro, and when we revisit it, we'll dot the I's and cross the T's, and we'll go a bit more in detail about it, all right? But let's go here first, okay? Let's get Psalms 41, okay, and 9 first. Psalms 41 and 9, and it says, yea, my own familiar friend in whom I trusted, which did eat of my bread, have lifted his heel against me. Okay, so these nations, all right, who have been a friend, an ally, okay, who have been an acquaintance, they are now becoming enemies, all right? The beast is starting to hate the whore, along with the rest of the nations also, okay? All right? Again, Psalms 41 and 9, yea, my own familiar friend in whom I trusted, which did eat of my bread, have lifted up his heel against me. So these nations are going against Trump, and that's because he's going against the nation. He's going against NATO, okay? He's going against the beast, all right? He's talking about taking over their countries. Again, this President Trudeau of Canada, which is an ally, he's in NATO, Greenland, Denmark, all this is NATO. This is the beast, okay? And these countries make up NATO, all right? That's the beast, all right? And they're starting to go up against Nero Trump, go up against Babylon, a.k.a. America, spiritual Babylon, okay? Yea, my own familiar friend in whom I trusted, which did eat of my bread, have lifted up his heel against me, all right? Let's go here and close the lesson. This is pretty much an intro. Obadiah 1. Okay, it says, the vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor, we've heard a report, all right, from the Lord. And an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Okay, one of the Lord's servants, all right, an angel, all right. Arise ye and let us raise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised, okay? So these other nations are starting to turn on the whore. Let's drop down right to 7. It says, all the men of thy, Obadiah 1 and 7, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound unto thee. There is none understanding in him, okay? So I just gave you that Psalms 41 and 9. Those who eat of his bread, okay, who he trusted have turned on him, all right? And that's because he's turned on everybody. What's that, Sirach 14 and 4? He who is not good to himself, to whom will he be good, okay? All right? So the beast is starting to hate the whore. That Matthew 24th chapter, Mark 3rd chapter, 23 through, kingdom divided. We're going to revisit this lesson, dot the I's, cross the T's, and go a little bit more thoroughly into it, all right? But that's pretty much all I have right now. Lord will, this was edifying through the Spirit, In closing, I'd like to say shalom and a Bob More will be revealed. Until the next time.